Hello, everybody. In today's lesson, we're going to be reading a passage from Alice Adventures in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll. We will also be writing a paragraph based on our opinions of the passage, and we will also review our peers' passage and read what they have written in their paragraphs regarding this passage. So, how many of you have heard of this book? Okay, well, that's about half of you, okay. And how many of you have read the book, or read part of the book, or watched the movie, or part of the movie? Oh, you watched the movie? I used to love that movie when I was a kid. I loved the art and everything about it. Okay. Alright, so everybody has their copy of the book? Okay, perfect. Right, please turn to page 77, and the chapter title should be The Queen's Croquet Ground. Okay. I'm going to read, and then you can, out loud, and then you just read along with me. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and ask what you need to, and I'll stop and answer your questions. Okay, so let's begin. A large rose tree stood near the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners at it, busily painting them red. Alice thought this a very curious thing, and she went nearer to watch them. And just as she came up to them, she heard one of them say, "Look out now, Five. Don't go splashing paint over me like that." "I couldn't help it," said Five in a sulky tone. 7 jogged my elbow, on which 7 looked up and said, "That's right, 5. Always lay the blame on others." "You'd better not talk," said 5. "I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserved to be beheaded." "What for?" said the one who had spoken first. "That's none of your business." 2, said 7. "Yes, it is his business," said 5. "And I'll tell him it was for bringing the cooked tulip roots instead of onions." 7 flung down his brush and had just begun. Well, of all the unjust things, when his eye chanced to fall upon Alice, as she stood watching them, and she checked himself suddenly. The others looked round also, and all of them bowed below. "Would you tell me, please," said Alice, a little timidly, "why are you painting those roses?" 5 and 7 said nothing, but looked at 2. 2 began in a low voice. "Why, the fact is, you see, miss, this here ought to have been a red rose tree, and we put a white one in by mistake, and if the Queen was to find it out, we should all have our heads cut off, you know. So you see, miss, we're doing our best afore she comes." 2 at this moment, 5, who had been anxiously looking across the garden, called out, "The Queen! The Queen!" And the 3 gardeners instantly threw themselves flat upon their faces. There was a sound of many footsteps, and Alice looked around, eager to see the Queen. First came 10 soldiers, carrying clubs. These were all shaped like the 3 gardeners, oblong and flat, with their heads and feet at the corners, next to the 10 courtiers. These